Hare Gange Mahadev Sri Shankara Parvati Pati Mahadev Sri Shankara.
Namaste, it's Sahara Rose, and welcome back to the Highest Self podcast, a place where we discuss what makes you your soul's highest evolvement. I was guided to record this podcast right now because collectively we are experiencing such shifts on the quantum field, and I wanted to speak into that. So this will be perhaps a short episode. We'll see how long the channel runs, but I just really wanted to talk specifically about upgrades that you're having right now, as well as dreams. So I'm sure you have noticed that your dreams are more prophetic than ever before. They carry a lot of symbology in them. Maybe you are seeing things from your past, you are seeing different timelines, you are seeing things of your future. Your dreams are basically speaking to you right now. And as I'm recording this, we are at the 444 portal. So that 444 portal is the 4th of April, 2020. If you add up 2022, 2 is 4. So right now is the 444. And we just had a global collective meditation, 144,000 light workers around the world who meditated together just right now. So I think I'm feeling the frequency. And I just really want to share this because I know a lot of you guys are having these dreams and maybe you aren't able to realize that these are part of the shift that is occurring right now. So our dreams are us tapping into other dimensions, other realities, other simultaneous timelines. Now, when I say timelines, what I mean is that right now, your soul is actually operating in different frequencies at the same time. So when we talk about past lives, we say past in terms of how we as humans think of time, but truly on the highest level, time does not exist. So you may have experienced that non-existent side of time before when you are meditating, some people on plant medicine, mushrooms, etc. But time is not this linear thing that we think of. We put it into a linear context so we can understand what time is, because if we realize that everything is happening at once, it would be too much for our human mind to construct. So we have basically created this concept of time to help us filter through a sequence of how things happen. But actually, it's all happening at once. So this is more higher level spirituality, but I wanted to preface it with this because the dreams that you are having are different timelines that your soul actually may be in right now. So for example, I have been having dreams of different people that I was friends with or maybe liked when I was like in college, etc. And these dreams of, what could have happened? Like imagine if I made a different decision and my life took this turn or that turn, if I was still friends with this person, if I was in a relationship, imagine if I got married to that person. And I'm thinking, wow, all these different timelines that my soul could have been in and how grateful I am for this timeline. And the reason why I'm in this timeline is because it's the one that my soul needs for this incarnation. It's the highest path for me. But there are so many different timelines that my soul could have taken. So the reason why my dreams are showing this to me, I believe, is because there is some wisdom for me to see, if I had chosen this path, it would have picked up on a certain side of me. It would have maybe been because I didn't face a different trigger, a different limiting belief. So let's say, for example, you have a dream that you are married to your ex, right? So for that to have happened, you probably wouldn't have had a breakthrough that you did have that made you realize that that wasn't the right person for you. So if you hadn't had that breakthrough, you would still be operating from a certain level of consciousness that maybe made you think that that person was right for you, even though from a higher level of consciousness, they were not, right? So there is still a part of you in your being who is still at that frequency, who still could have been with your ex. But because you evolved, that is not the present timeline that you have chosen. I'm wondering if this makes sense for some of you guys. I know some of you guys are newer to spirituality, but some of you guys have been doing this for a while and you're hearing me. And I think even if this is the first time you're hearing this, it's going to open up your field. So When we have dreams, they are messages for us. Not only messages for us, but they are aspects of us. So the reason why we are dreaming something is because there is an element of our truth inside it. And this includes bad dreams. Bad dreams are revealing to us our shadows. They are revealing to us our greatest, deepest fears. Because a lot of times we try to, like in modern day spirituality, be like, I'm a light worker, light, light, light. I love the light, only positive. And that's actually just not how spirit works. Spirit is duality. Spirit is all things. There is light and there is darkness. And just like we have the sun, we have the moon. And there's both ends of the spectrum. So if we try to completely ignore the darkness that is inside of us, it will manifest in dream state because our conscious mind cannot control our dreams. So this aspect of us will show up in our dreams to help us become aware of something. So maybe your dream that you've been having is, for example, you're in a car and you are in the passenger seat of the car and the car keeps driving and you don't have any control and you're super afraid because the car is going to crash, right? So that's the aspect of you, the shadow aspect of you that feels out of control right now. So that's showing up in your dream because you have not looked into where is it in my life that I don't feel control? How can I feel, more control? How can I become at peace with the fact that truly we don't have control? And until you do that work and you dig into that hole, it's going to keep showing up in dreams. It'll show up in a different dream, but it will always have that theme of lack of control. Maybe your dream is you're an old person, you die alone, right? Well, that's that fear of feeling disconnected from people, feeling like no one is truly there for you, feeling like at the end of the day, you're on your own. So until you reach this deep-seated feeling of loneliness within you, you're going to not only keep having dreams. The reason why the dream is showing up is because your soul is trying to get you to do the work. It's trying to make you aware of this side of you so you can heal it. So when it comes up in your dream, then you become conscious of it, and then you can start to look at, why do I feel like I'm going to die alone? What are the parts of me that feel that way? And then you can actually, get into that hole and bring it to surface. So our dreams, including our bad dreams, they're not here to torment us. They are not here to make us afraid of anything. They are here to bring forth parts of ourselves that we may not have the courage to in our ordinary lives. So right now, at this time, we are doing the deepest shadow work in the history of humanity right now. For the first time ever, and I've said this on all of the past month's Highest Self podcast episodes that I've been doing on this coronavirus pandemic, we are experiencing the same thing at the same time, which has never happened in humanity, because even if there was a war or a flu, etc., we would not have known about it because we didn't have the internet. So this is the first time something like this has happened, that we're all feeling the same thing at the same time. Even if there was a war in one country, we wouldn't all be scared. But right now, we are all feeling the same waves of fear, of uncertainty, but waves, right? We also all feel the hope. We also all feel the, what could society become after this? We also all feel the, wow, I'm feeling more connected, even though I'm physically isolated. So right now, we're riding the waves up and down, up and down. And the reason why they are waves and it's not this straight shoot is because our universe, if you really look at it from an outside view, it's bubbling, right? It comes in and out. It's pulsing. That's the word for it. The world is pulsing. Energy is pulsing. Energy is not static. So if we were to see each other's auras, we would see that it's moving, it's fluid. And as I speak certain words, maybe certain chakras of mine light up and certain of them dim down. So energy is fluid. So we're not just going to feel like completely positive or even completely sad. Every single person has been feeling the waves, because these waves are essentially allowing us to see the range and the totality of our emotions. So we are going into our deepest, darkest fears. Whatever it is you have been truly afraid of has surfaced for you. There is not a single person on this planet who has not felt deep fear this past month. Not a single person on this planet. So for me, that was, fear of my parents dying, fear of not having enough resources, and also fear of being trapped, not being able to. For me, I love to dance. I love to be with the people in the drums, in the jungle. That is my happy place. And then, today I actually cried because I thought, I don't even know when that's ever happening, maybe not this even year. And that was whoa, that is my happy place. And I have to right now put that on a shelf because I don't know when it's going to be. So we've all felt these fears: fear of loss of identity, fear of loss of job, fear of loss of security, fear of loss, fear of, again, loneliness, of being quarantined with the wrong person, etc. Those fears have always been there. They've always been there, but this experience right now is bringing them to surface so they could be healed. Just like I said, a bad dream is bringing up the parts of you that needed to be transmuted and healed. This coronavirus situation is bringing up the parts of us. The fear of death is not new. The podcast episode I did on how to overcome the fear of coronavirus, I go deep into the fear of death, but the fear of death is not new. We've actually always had a fear of death, but we weren't aware of it because we were so caught up in our daily doings that we never took a step back and realized, oh wow, I could actually drop dead and die at any given moment. So because we weren't even thinking about that, it wasn't on our awareness, it was in our subconscious, and right now it's coming forth to our conscious, so we can look at it and see that, there's truly nothing to be afraid of, because even if I die, I know that I'm a soul and I'm eternal and I will continue across many different lifetimes, or I will continue in heaven, whatever your beliefs are. But if you believe that you're a soul, then there really is no end, so there's no point in being afraid of the deterioration of your physical body because you'll continue. So right now we're being asked to go into whatever that fear is. Fear of dying alone. Well, the truth is we're always alone. Even if we're with someone, we're within ourselves. So the other person might distract you from currently being with yourself, but they can't help you escape yourself until you are 100% comfortable being alone in yourself, in your body, in your thoughts, in your consciousness, in your field, without feeling the need to tap into someone else's, including social media, including television, including a partner. You will never truly be happy. So all of these fears are coming to surface. And guys, let me know too, send me an email, what are the things coming up for you? Because I'd love to support. So another huge realization that I have had in this, as well as dreams, but what my spirit guided me to right now, is that it is so imperative for us to connect to our own channels. Because when this whole pandemic started, we all rushed to support, to share, to get active, to get involved, to text everyone, FaceTime everyone, because I think it hit us. We're like, oh my God, I can't visit my friends anymore. So let me spend every moment that I have on a FaceTime and a Zoom call and an Instagram Live and a this and a that. And we actually never got the opportunity to be on our own. This whole thing is about being on your own, being within your home, slowing down. And I would say the majority of us have not done that. We have been perpetually distracting ourselves because we are so afraid of being home within ourselves. So what came up for me is that a lot of times with social media, though I love how it's connecting people and I love sharing messages and I love that it gives everyone a platform, and there's so much that I love about social media, one aspect that really came to surface to me that I believe is not healthy is this constant feeling that you have to report what you are doing. And I believe that this might be the last year that a lot of people do that. Now, what I mean by reporting what you're doing is Instagram stories or Snapchat if you're doing that. So this feeling that everything you do, you have to record it and share it to someone else. This literally takes you out of the present like nothing else because you're no longer in the experience. You immediately go into the observer of you having the experience. Then you want to label it and then you want to change the experience and curate the experience because instead of being in the experience, you're thinking about how is this going to look to someone else? And that someone else is most of the time a stranger. Not only is it not a good use of your time to report everything that you're doing on social media, but it's also not a good use of the person who's consuming its time. It doesn't make sense. And it's something that last week I really looked at. I was like, whoa, why are we all doing this? It is like reality TV, like crack, like, oh, I woke up, I drank this green smoothie, and now I'm working out, and now I'm here, and this is my dog, and this is my kid, and this is my bowl of food, and now I'm thinking this, and now I'm feeling that, and constantly reporting. It's so unhealthy when you really think about it because you're not able to live your life without reaching for your phone to tell someone else what you're doing. Essentially, you're invalidating your own experience. You're living your life to be reported and essentially to get the feedback by someone else. And the reason why we do this is because we aren't internally validated. When we are not internally validated, we feel like we have to get the approval of everyone else. That's why when you post on Instagram or any social media, you constantly refresh for your likes and your comments after. You can't just post and ghost. Most people do not have that willpower, myself included. And that's why I'm bringing this to the conversation right now, because this past week I have been deleting Instagram off of my phone, posting and then straight up deleting the app because I've realized that cognitively my brain has become addicted to it. And anything your brain is addicted to is a no-no. Your brain should not be addicted to anything, any substance, any person, any belief, nothing. Only truth. That is the only thing that can be addictive. So I believe that a lot of us right now are going to social media because we're escaping ourselves. We're escaping and disallowing ourselves from being in the experience that we need to be in. And Source is trying to send us messages. It is trying to allow us to receive whatever wisdom that we need to in this time. This time, this incubator, this cocoon is happening for us so we can know what it is that we need to focus on and transmute to bring to the surface to move forward. And we are denying ourselves from this experience if all we are doing is checking in to see what other people are doing, feeling, posting this dog meme, this, that, and then whatever we are doing, essentially branding it and showing it off for other people. This doesn't make sense, and this isn't healthy. And essentially what we're doing is we're creating content for an app that is now worth, billions of dollars, but the app doesn't actually have anything. The only thing that it has is us constantly showing up and putting content into it. So just this past week of literally posting and deleting Instagram off my phone, I finished all of my book edits. I had hours of extra time per day. I did tons of painting, my belly dance classes, I pulled cards, I walked around, I called friends. I actually got to check in with my true friends who I, trust and want to talk to instead of just DMing with all of these random people. And it was so healing and so good for me because so many times I realized that I wanted to reach for my phone and record what I was doing and to witness that in myself and be like, wow, we don't realize how deep the addiction is until our brains reach for it like it's crack or something. Like, oh, I'm doing something, I need to record it, or I'm waiting in front of the elevator, or I'm waiting to cross the street, or I'm waiting in this conversation, or even maybe I'm in a conversation, but I feel like I need to be multitasking and I need to be on my phone. I need to be scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and endlessly scrolling. And the thing is, the scrolling doesn't stop. You never get to the bottom of the news feed. You never get to the end of the stories. It continues forever and ever and ever and ever. And we cycle and we cycle and we give away our lives to it. Social media truly is destroying many lives. Again, you can use social media for a lot of good. I share on social media still every day. I write posts on there that are inspirational and high vibrational. And I am extremely mindful now of what I am consuming as content. And until I can forget that Instagram is on my phone. For me, I've made a choice to not even have it on my phone unless I'm posting. So I believe right now we are being called to reach higher levels of consciousness than ever before. So I invite you to look at any habit that you have, whether it's social media, whether it is, watching a lot of TV, or really, I think any TV, doing something that is numbing you out. Sometimes we need something that's self-soothing for sure, but self-soothing does not have to come from an app. It can come from walking outside. It can come from being in nature. It can come from actually having a conversation with a friend instead of trying to impress all of these people that you don't know. Like, I realized in all of this time that I spend in doing Instagram stories, I could record a podcast episode that actually goes deep into a subject with people who are open and receptive to hearing it instead of people who are scattered. In social media, the energy is very scattered. No one can even watch something that's 1 minute long. 1 minute is too long for people. They cannot wait and watch a video. They need to keep scrolling and watch yourself. We are like this too. Oh my God, they're going too slow. Keep scrolling. We can't even watch the full 15-second story. 15 seconds of someone speaking is too long for us. We need to go next. Imagine what this is doing to our brain. It is literally preventing us from concentrating. It is preventing us from being present. It is preventing us from listening. It is preventing us from going deep. And what a perfect instrument to keep people out of their highest selves. What a perfect instrument to keep people on the shallow levels of their consciousness. People who think they are spiritual because they are reading a bunch of spiritual quotes a day and taking action on nothing. I'm sorry, but you could read all of the astrological updates and all of the quotes and all of the inspirational graphics or whatever that shit is, and I put it out too, but it's not going to increase our consciousness until we really sit with it offline and really go online within ourselves, turn on that receptor. We are seeking messages from outside of us when the messages are within us. And most of us have not logged off at all this quarantine. Like, I invite you to check how much time you've been spending on social media apps on your phone at this time. I know this episode is good, but so is this sponsor. A lot of us don't feel comfortable going to supermarkets right now, and cafes are closed, which means we aren't picking up green juices or even buying fresh produce as often. But right now, it is more important than ever before to keep our immune systems high, especially with greens and superfoods. I've been drinking Organifi Green every single day, and it's been a goddess send. It contains immune-boosting ingredients like moringa, chlorella, spirulina, wheatgrass, ashwagandha, turmeric, lemon, mint, and so much more. It takes only 1 minute to add into my water, and I feel so good knowing that at least I got my greens in for that day, which frankly I may not have had otherwise. I've also sent it to my family members to keep them healthy at this time too. You can receive 20% off your Organifi at Organifi.com using coupon code Sahara. Again, that's Organifi, ORGANIFI.com using coupon code Sahara, and that link is in the show notes. And you might say, well, I can't visit my friends anymore, so this is how I stay in touch with them. First of all, you can call a friend, have an actual conversation with them, dive deeper into seeing what's on their highlight reel. You can have a Zoom call, see them face to face. But secondly, what I really want to invite us to do is to sit with ourselves. That we don't need to be distracting ourselves with other people and how they're feeling and checking in with everyone that we've ever met. I love that we're reaching out to community. And have you taken one day to just be with yourself this entire month? I think we have such a fear of loneliness that the moment that we need to be quarantined, we feel like we have to constantly be in contact with the outside world. And that's including the news, and that's including whoever. You can live one day of your life without being in contact with anyone except for your highest self. In fact, have you ever done that? Have you ever taken one day of your life that you just said, I am not going to talk to anyone who is outside of these four walls, and I'm going to really be with myself or whoever I'm quarantined with? Not going to text. I'm not going to call. I'm not going to go on social media. Fuck, I'm not even going to listen to a podcast. I guarantee you that this will give you higher messages than anything you will read, anything you will get from someone else. We need to work on our antenna. Most of us have chopped off our antenna and put a cement block over our heads. Most of us are so distrusting that we have a connection to source, that we feel like we need someone else to translate it for us, myself included. I am not your translator to source. I am not. I am my translator to source. You are your translator to source. I do not know what messages source is telling you, but your dreams are letting you know. But are you waking up and the moment you get out of your dreams, you're hopping on Instagram to see what other people are dreaming up? Are you hopping on the news to see what CNN is dreaming up? Are you not even giving yourself enough time to dream? If we truly took this time for the medicine that it is, and the medicine being to sit in solitude, to be in this universal vipassana that is happening, if we truly took this, it will take our planet so much further. We will move backwards and spring forward like that rubber band that you got to bring it backwards so it could fly ahead. This is the energy that we can have. But most of us are so distracted, are so combobulated, are so tuning into so many different channels that we are so out of touch with our own channel. And this is really what I'm inviting us all to step into. I've shared before how I recommend going on an advice detox to find your dharma, and I write about this in my book. So an advice detox is when you don't ask anyone for advice at all related to your dharma, meaning your purpose. So you just literally ask your own channel, what should I do? And this is how you use your intuition. So right now, what I'm calling for us to do is to go on essentially a technological detox, to not be on social media, to not be checking the news, to have no interaction with anything that is happening outside of your four walls, to fully be where you are. I invite you to do this for at least 24 hours. If you have a mom who's going to freak out if you don't call her, just let her know, tomorrow I'm going to take a technological detox. I'm just going to take one day to not call people, not text, not this, not that, and just be with myself, or be with my kids, or be with my husband, or be with whoever you are with, but really with yourself. If you do this for one day, trust me, you're going to say, wow, how have I been so caught up in the noise? How have I not listened to myself before? And you're also going to see the withdrawals. You're going to see yourself reaching for your phone. You're going to see yourself doing something that you want to share and you want to text. You're going to see yourself maybe on your yoga mat. That's when you reach and you start scrolling or something else. And you're going to notice how addicted and how hooked you are. And if you see this, that you are hooked, that you are grabbing for the phone, then I invite you to do it even longer, until you can cut that cord and cut that addiction and realize that everything that you need is inside of you. And that the approval and validation that we are craving from the outside world through social media is just the approval and validation that we need to give ourselves. That no amount of likes and no amount of comments and no amount of other people's downloads and ideas and quotes and astrological charts or whatever is ever going to compare to the access that we have within ourselves. And if you're saying, well, I'm not intuitive like you, I don't have a spiritual practice, I don't receive messages, I don't have any of this stuff, so I need to see what other people are doing because I don't have it, then I invite you to observe that thought, because that thought is the very reason why you aren't having it. If you believe that someone else is more in touch with spirit than you are, then you're essentially discrediting your own soul. You're basically saying that you don't exist. Because anyone who exists has a soul that has chosen to be here on the planet, that has moved through the same, sequence that anyone else has to be here at this time. And that means you have an inherent connection to source and to the divine. In fact, your connection is exactly how it needs to be for your channel. Notice some people are super celestial and talking all about the Pleiadians right now. Other people are very Vedic and talking about different mantras you can do. And other people are very shamanic and talking about different shaking practices. And other people are astrological and talking about that, or Vedic. There's so many different channels and so many different spiritual modalities in there. And this is your opportunity right now to dive into them and figure out, how does your channel seek to express? What are the practices that allow you to connect to source? How do you get online without being physically online? When you realize that you have all of the power that you need, then you stop going outside yourself for questions. And you can go on social media and see what other people are saying. And it's interesting that their perspective is different, but in no way are you reliant on someone else to tell you what is happening right now. Because no one else can tell you what is happening for you. Only you can say that. We can all pick up on things for the collective. Right now I shared for the collective, you may be having dreams. I know a lot of people are having dreams. But I'm not going to know what your dreams mean for you, honey. Only you can know that for yourself. So we get to reclaim that power within ourselves. And really the reason why we've been given this Vipassana experience to sit in stillness within ourselves is so we can reclaim our access. So we can sit and listen. Not so we can go online all the time. Some intuitives are saying that there's going to be a global blackout. Well, I freaking hope that there is, honestly, because everyone's online and people need to sit and be and not try to escape the moment. Because the longer you try to escape the moment, the more it's going to show up in your life. The more you try to escape loneliness, the more loneliness will show up. The more you try to escape fear of death, the more death will show up. Whatever you try to escape is just going to come right back to you. So let's go into it. Let's go into what it is to be within yourself. Let's go into what it is to trust that you have all of the answers within you. Let's go into truly being in the home, in the temple, in the body. So this is a really powerful time right now. And if you take this time for the alchemy that it is, it will catapult you light years ahead. You will come out of this quarantine experience so much more aligned, so much more connected, so much more clear about what it is that you are here to cause and create. And if you just decide to ride it out, scrolling endlessly on Instagram, seeing everyone's updates on Facebook, watching another show on Netflix, and basically numb yourself out the whole time, that's what's going to keep showing up for you. You're just going to continue to seek other numbing experiences, jobs, careers, relationships, because you're choosing to not sit with yourself in this time when we are all being called to right now. We're all being called to essentially sit in this global council. And if you're choosing to basically skip it over right now, you're not going to be able to receive the medicine that it is. So I invite you to take a technological detox, to take at least 24 hours off, no social media, no emails unless you absolutely have to work. But really the thing that I want us to avoid is to be tapped into other people's timeline, other people's stories, other people's ideas, and cut that cord. I'm not saying permanently, but until you have a strong enough connection to your truth that other people's interpretations, you don't take those as your own reality. Does that make sense? So I hope this podcast helped you understand deeper what it is that you need to do. For me, I believe that spirituality is something that is deeply personal. And that's why in this episode, even if you never listen to this podcast again, this is the one and only podcast of mine you listen to. And after this, you only listen to your own source and channel. I will be really happy because really I am just here to help raise consciousness. And I feel like what we really need right now are more people connected to their own internal power. So you don't need to follow me on social media. You can just follow yourself on real term media, life media, what is happening in this present moment. And I always share what is occurring for me. And wow, in this past week of not checking anyone's stories and posts, I have never felt more clear and connected than ever before. And I'm actually able to spend more time actually listening to audiobooks that I really like, or a podcast or transmission or webinar that I really enjoy, and go deep within that subject rather than the scrolling and the clickbait and the static content. That's not really serving us. It's time for us to go deep. It's time for us to go past that point where we feel ADD. And look, what is it that I'm trying to escape? Where is it that I'm rushing to? I've noticed, so I've been quarantined for like a month now. I quarantined early. Well, I kind of live in that quarantine lifestyle, but like truly have not seen anyone for a month besides my husband. And it has honestly made me so much more peaceful. I take my time. Like I notice that certain things that I would like rush through, I don't rush through them anymore. I just sit with them. Like I foam roll. I never had time to foam roll before. I'm foam rolling. I've listened to so many audiobooks. I'm just walking. I'm brushing my dog. Like things that I before felt like I don't have time to do because I got to go. I go, what's next? What's next? What's next? My nervous system has essentially reset itself. That I'm moving at the slower pace, which is actually just the pace of life. And I'm still, I'm still deep in my book edits. I'm still recording these podcast episodes. I'm still like creating content. So I haven't stopped everything, but just not being on social media where the energy is so static and constant and stimulating, just being off of it for a week has allowed me to connect with the rhythms and the flows of reality, of 3D, 4D, and 5D consciousness, not this crazy whatever is happening on social media that has honestly gotten frenetic at this point, with people just honestly kind of like chickens with their heads chopped off, just like running around in circles, posting because everyone is processing so much and they're not able to sit with their processes. So they're basically word vomiting and story vomiting on social media because they don't know how to handle things within themselves. And they feel like everything that they're going through, they need to share it with every single person they've ever met. And like, this isn't how we heal things. Like, if you want to heal something, actually sit with it, or actually talk to a friend or a therapist about it, but not just posting everything that you're going through on social media. Like, this is actually a form of mental illness. And trust me, I was in the mental illness until I'm realizing now, just like, yeah, this is not something that we can have moving into the 5D world. We get to have content that elevates people. I'm all about authenticity, but let's have some substance. Let's think before we post. Let's ask ourselves the question, is this uplifting anyone? Have I thought this through? Have I sat with this emotion and processed it within myself before I'm throwing it out into the whole world to deal with? I'm seeing so much fear that people are kind of sticking onto others through social media. And when we aren't aware of this and we're in it, then suddenly we're scared and we're panicking and we don't know why. And the reason why is because we're tapped into so many different people's timelines. Like, I think that's even what they call it on Facebook, your timeline. Interesting, right? I noticed that I was so worried, and I was like, why am I worried? If I didn't even have social media, I would not even be aware of all of these things that I'm worrying about. So I think this is time for us to reclaim our power. Like, listen to the content that's actually going to lift you up and build you up. But these little bite-sized sound bit pieces of content that aren't really taking us anywhere, this is just wasting our energy, wasting our time, and actually creating energy leaks within us. So I invite you to look at all different energy leaks in your life. Maybe it's TikTok for you. Maybe it is being on your company's Slack account for too long, whatever that is for you, and really looking at it. But I think the biggest one for our time right now is social media. And girl, take 1 week off and you will see just your quality of thoughts will be so much higher vibrational than ever before. And being part of the right type of community. You know, I actually was picking up on just the toxicity of social media last year. And it was a year ago that I created Rose Gold Goddesses. So Rose Gold Goddesses is our own app that is completely high vibrational. Everything we post on there, I mean, we have guidelines of how to even post, but we make sure it's content that's actually going to help serve people. So we talk about, you know, what is coming up for you at this time and what are things that you've used to heal? Or, you know, I've run out of cleaning supplies. Like, what are the non-toxic homemade remedies and recipes that you're doing right now? Actual conversations that is uplifting, that is inspiring. We have members leading their own workshops all about how to have financial abundance at this time, or practice breath work, or work with mantras. Again, going deep into a subject and really learning about it and sitting with it. We have, you know, expert calls from many of your favorite High Self podcast guests. We just had Gina DeVee, full hour workshop all about manifesting abundance and working with your inner queen archetype. We have Chandresh Bardwaj coming back on to do a deep dive with Goddess Kali. And myself, I create my best content in Rose Gold Goddesses. If you love High Self podcast, Rose Gold Goddesses is where it's at. Every single month, we have a different theme of a different goddess. So I write an entire 50-page ebook on working with that goddess, journaling prompts, meditations, tapping, who that goddess is, how she shows up with your life, rituals, and leading an entire, you know, goddess circle virtually with hundreds of us live doing the work together in real time. And this month, which is actually taking place tomorrow, is to work with Goddess Kali Ma, the goddess of letting go, the goddess of transformation, the goddess of death and rebirth. So we are going to be diving deep into what it is that we are letting go of and what it is that we are calling in. So I invite you to step into a community that serves you, whether it is Rose Gold Goddesses or something else, something that you can actually get depth and substance and see being on this platform and in consuming this content is taking me where I want to go. It is time for us to be mindful of everything that we are consuming: food, thoughts, information, conversations, everything in between. Because the things that we consume create the vibration that we are. So if you are one of the people out there who is feeling lonely and wanting spiritual community, but also realizing that social media is feeling toxic, it is feeling like a time suck, and it's actually putting you into more fear, then I invite you to join us in Rose Gold Goddesses. We are here for you. We have the kind of conversation and content that's going to take this opportunity of being quarantined and use it to raise you up. My masterclasses are all there. The Awaken Your Powers masterclass with Shaman Durek is available for you there. My Discover Your Dharma 10-day course is there. My Discover Your Dharma workshops are there. So many different meditations that I've recorded, all of the previous month's goddess circles. So enhancing your creativity with Goddess Saraswati, enhancing your abundance and your money mindset with Goddess Lakshmi, working with our sacred sexuality with Lalita Sundari, bringing more ease and flow into our lives with Goddess Yamaya, finding our Dharma and our path of courage with Goddess Durga, working on self-love, compassion, and forgiveness with Goddess Kuan Yin, and of course, letting go and transformation with Goddess Kali Ma. And we will continue each month working with a new goddess, so you will walk away as a transformed person. Frankly, there is no community in the world like this, and I truly know at this moment that my guides told me to create Rose Gold Goddesses 1 year ago, knowing that this situation would happen, knowing that this is, I believe, the last year that people are going to be using Instagram in the way that they are. It's going to become like Facebook and MySpace has, like something that no one uses. And we still need to gather and we still need to connect, but it needs to be done in a ceremonial, high vibrational container where it is actually uplifting us. And this is exactly what Rose Gold Goddesses is. And it is the only community in the world that is like this. So if this is calling your name, we have open doors back up at this time because we know there are so many goddesses in quarantine seeking to connect and circle, because we goddesses, we don't fit in a box, but we sure love to circle. So if it's calling your name, I invite you to join us at rosegoldgoddesses.com. Again, that is rosegoldgoddessesplural.com, and the link is over in my show notes. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I am so grateful for your time, your attention, your love, and your support, and truly honored to be walking this divine journey alongside you. If you loved this episode, I would love to send you a free gift, which is the first half of my unreleased book, Eat Right for Your Mind Body Type. This is a different book than Eat Feel Fresh, my first book ever, which is not released anywhere, and I am gifting it exclusively to those who leave a review of my podcast in the iTunes store. So all you got to do is head over to iTunes, where you may be listening to this podcast, and leave a review. Take a screenshot that you've left it and email it over to me at Sahara@eatfeelfresh.com. Again, that's Sahara, Sahara, at eatfeelfresh.com. And I will send you back the first half of my unreleased book, Eat Right for Your Mind Body Type, which goes all into Ayurveda, Doshas, plant-based nutrition, body types, all of the things in a really fun and engaging way. So this is my gift to you for free for supporting the podcast. Every single review I personally read. It really helps the podcast be listened to by more people so we can raise the vibration of the planet together. And I am so grateful to have you on this journey. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you on the next episode. Namaste.